is the 26th of April 2020, and this upload um, is pretty much along the same topic as I've been discussing for the past few months with regards to hate crime and human rights violations that I'm continuously experiencing in my hometown and the town of my birth and the town where I have been working. Um, Basically, the issues have been pertaining to hate crime, but unfortunately, with the lack of input and consideration and support from authorities, it's becoming more apparent that I'm actually a victim of crime. Um, this is a very unusual circumstance for me because prior to all of this, I was living productively and happily, minding my own business, hadn't caused any harm to anybody. And since giving birth and marrying a property owner, um, the devastation that has struck my life is just inexplicable. The guilty culprits I am fully aware of. They have plagued my life since I was raped and since they broadcasted that rape online and distributed the incidents of sexual assault throughout the community and throughout the world. Um, so basically, the culprits of these assaults, not only physical assault, sexual assault, character assault, etc., etc., these culprits have been trying every tactic under the sun to avoid just a simple confrontation of amends and compensation and justifiable explanations for their rotten actions. So that's the reputation that's being caused with regard to these offences for not only locality but also for the culprits involved that think with changing the stories, bringing more people on board, using celebrity, highlighting how fantastic they are, denying what they've been involved in with regards to what they've done to me over 10 years ago, etc., etc. Every tactic under the sun has been utilised to assault my human rights and my constitutional rights. Um, it's come to the stage now where the tactics are not just denial and delusion. They have used reverse psychology, inverse psychology, these kind of violations of privacy that involve attaining information, private and personal information. They violated my dwellings in the past, and again, they are violating my privacy and accessing information and altering information. These people are looking for a claim. They are basically looking for success on my um, credentials or with my credentials and with my experience. They're hyping themselves up to be fantastic individuals, social um, trendsetters, social influencers, but in fact they are causing a very serious, toxic and dangerous situation that has caused violations of children's rights and women's rights. So the other aspect of this is that these individuals that have stolen opportunities, career opportunities, and that have done worse than identity theft. If anyone knows what imposter syndrome is, someone trying to characterize themselves as the target that they're mirroring and imposing upon. That's a highly morbid situation, and it's even gone so far as outrageous things being said about offences that have been falsely claimed, apparently perpetrated by this person here, Emer McElligott, of two farm holdings that I'm being withheld information of, and that I'm, being obstructed attaining my rights from. These people that are stealing career opportunities, professional opportunities that I've worked for, that I'm qualified in. These people faking their way into another person's experience. They think that is by demoralizing and proving their superiority that they're going to override an individual's identity and purpose. These people think that in their superiority stance, that they're going to just gain acclaim for work that they have not done, as I keep reiterating, and also that they think will, make them feel better by making trash of a person that they have stolen so much of and so much from also. So I'm worried about the mental health of these individuals. I'm worried about the authorities facilitating and safeguarding individuals that have contributed sweet FA to society, except a lot of trouble and a lot of defamation, not only about myself. So I'm just very concerned about who the authorities and politicians are prioritising, because as Initiatives of Ireland and other, agencies are considered, I think for this circumstance to be occurring is absolutely demoralising and just so debasing and so disgraceful. To be a woman thinking that they're in any position to feel any way superior about downgrading or denigrating another woman by providing favours that aren't exactly PC and that aren't exactly tolerable or professional in order to get their way to the top is quite sickening. So these are the things I'm concerned about. These are things that are happening in this vendetta of defamation and financial abuse that I'm experiencing. As I've mentioned, and as you've seen throughout the uploads, there's been medical incompetence, and the medical incompetence has damaged all facets of my body. And when I gave birth in 2015, I had brilliant health, I had fab health, I had a fab pregnancy, and this is what's happening now. Doctors have intentionally disregarded my health. And as I've said, there have been fakes and frauds presenting themselves as professionals and thinking that they're in a position to basically misdiagnose and detain an individual that they have no engagement with and that they are not employed to be involved with and that they are not permitted to be violating the privacy of. So this is what I have to contend with since I gave birth and got married to a property owner. Two farm holdings, and I live in a HAPS accommodation, and I have individuals, adults, professionals, broadcasting themselves as superior, fantastic individuals that have caused yet another vendetta of crime, hate crime, and human rights violations. Local authorities have not done enough. Local government have not done enough. The national government have not done enough. Ombudsmen have ignored this to protect the guilty culprits that have done very serious damage to children's rights and women's rights. So as this circumstance is, it's pretty horrendous. It's absolutely disgraceful for this to be happening in 2020, and for even a little bit of consideration with regard to the spiritual violations and spiritual identity theft. Another adult individual damaging a light body and then masquerading themselves as the identity of the person that they've damaged and stolen from is very morbid. It's like identity theft, imposter syndrome. These people that I am aware of, that I know exactly who they are, and that have imposed themselves into my family homes, my private life, my personal information, these people falsifying information, that are trespassing onto my farm holdings, that have damaged children's rights, that have obstructed justice, that have withheld my entitlements because they feel like it. They consider themselves the new officials of society, and they are corrupt in their mannerisms and their behaviour as professionals. They have been completely disgraceful in their handling of an absolutely unforgivable assault of my human rights and my constitutional rights. So the ombudsmen and the politicians that choose to have ignored this and that are prioritising the safety and reputation of a very guilty collective, I hope that the politicians understand the significance of initiatives that involve spiritual violence that I've experienced. And as regards the hypocrisy of these individuals that have claimed to have reformed and are peaceful, loving, happy human beings, carefree and considerate, and feigning concern for their damaged targets. I hope the politicians understand the mind games at play and the damage being caused. As for the individual masquerading themselves with my spiritual gifts, light, and blessings, and trespassing into my life and damaging my career and opportunities, I hope that you are aware that you have no one fooled. This vendetta that's going on since 2017, even prior to then, it's common knowledge about the revenge porn. It's common knowledge about the identity theft and the spiritual violence that occurred. And for this to be facilitated yet again and to be covered up and lies after lies to be perpetrated and facilitated is absolutely disgraceful. So today, on the 26th of April, without supports or services from local authorities, local government, or national government, and ombudsman ignoring the offences and wrongdoings that I've experienced, while lies and lies and lies are being told, and serious financial theft going on. I hope those guilty culprits realise the consequences for future generations, because it's a very serious offence to have damaged a spiritual light worker. It's very serious for these people to have intruded upon my ancestral records, my ancestral families. It's very dangerous for them to have trespassed into my homes and my farm holdings. And it's very serious for them to have damaged children's rights and women's rights. And it's very serious for them to have damaged my work and my career and my experience and my credentials. And it's very serious that doctors are damaging women's health. So, as for the authorities and politicians happily ignoring this very dangerous situation that they've caused for me, I hope you realise the consequences, and I hope you realise the losses, because ill gotten gains, as I keep saying, and the foul play when playing bad ball with bad players that don't know how to play by the rules isn't a good sign of the times. So for 2020, this is a very disastrous circumstance for a qualified educator to be in, where the guilty culprits and the liars are running amok, and it's absolutely shameful. So I hope the authorities know what they're facilitating and what they're going to be expecting for many years to come after what has been done to this woman. Law abiding and peaceful citizen, civil liberties, humanitarian, and this is what's happening. So, for the authorities that weren't prepared to rectify the damages of revenge porn and sexual assault, and that weren't prepared to rectify the damages done to my constitutional rights and children's rights, I hope you know the forebodings for the future, and for those that are stealing creative and intellectual property and perpetrating identity theft. I worry for your mental health. So, obviously, 26th of April, very disgusted with the circumstances that people are causing. It's absolutely embarrassing for an adult citizen to be intruded upon daily basis, for medical incompetence to be perpetrated, for people to be violating my bodily integrity and thinking that by ruining and stealing my professional opportunities, that they're in any way winning with such tactics. So foul play, fairly prominent, but that's begrudgery, and that's a mentality, unfortunately, that's quite prevalent. So local authorities, national authorities, um, you have seen my uploads, you know my victim impact statement, you know the occurrences that are occurring. So you know where I am. And if you have any regard for women and children, would you ever mind having some courtesy and integrity for your own professions and respect the constitutional rights that I have in this country as well, especially as a law abiding citizen? So, on that note, that's my upload for today. Mental health is obviously failing with those people that are playing mind games and denial of their offences isn't possible. And those throughout the country and beyond that are fully aware of the people um, that are doing this and their intentions, and think that they're getting away with all of this, and that are brazenly, openly discussing their offences and, you know, making matters worse. I hope you know the cost to this kind of injustice. And that's all I'd say for this upload. But if any more offences or wrongdoings are perpetrated against a whistleblower, I know it sounds repetitive, but I hope you know what this means for the future generations of those children, of those people that have stolen so much from me.